Your Excellency, you swore to obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of Kenya. Are you aware, sir, that your cabinet is unconstitutional?
Thank you very much, Eric. I am fully aware that the court has made a determination and given me time to realizing that that is work in progress to be able to do what I need to do. But in that context, let me speak to my oath of office in a broader context, and to speak to this day, Katiba Day. And as I have said in my earlier statement, this is not just a ritual. This is a time for us to reflect and account for what we have done in 16 years with respect to the tenets, the principles, the mandate, and the requirement of our Constitution. And putting that in the context of my oath of office and being accountable for that oath of office, and putting it in the context of what, again, I said earlier in terms of how do we...
I want to start by just acknowledging some of the words that you said, Your Excellency, in your remarks to set the scene for today. You said accountability cannot end with defending institutional territory, observing procedure, or publishing reports. Ultimately, we must account for outcomes, whether we have protected the sovereignty of the people, upheld human dignity, preserved constitutional order, used public resources responsibly, and brought the rights guaranteed by our Constitution within the reach of more citizens. There's no greater responsibility than that's given to the people in our panel today. And I want to start with you, Your Excellency. When you took the oath of office, the first oath of office that you took was the oath of affirmation of allegiance, in which you said, I may remind you, and I'll use the names, please allow me to use your name. I, William Samoei Ruto, in full realization of the high calling I assume as President of the Republic of Kenya, do swear that I'll be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Kenya, that I'll obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of Kenya as by law established and all other laws of the Republic, and that I'll protect and uphold the sovereignty, integrity, and dignity of the people of Kenya. Our conversation this afternoon, Your Excellency, with the permission with the honorable panelists, I just want us to make it very short. It's not accountability. Accountability for these high offices. At the end of this, the program has you coming to make your closing remarks. So we'll not even do the closing remarks. We'll just do quick accountability for the person and the office that you hold. What have you done to uphold the Constitution? Your Excellency, you swore to obey, preserve, protect, and defend this Constitution of Kenya. Are you aware, sir, that your cabinet is unconstitutional?
Thank you very much, Eric. I am fully aware that the court has made a determination and given me time to realizing that that is work in progress to be able to do what I need to do. But in that context, let me speak to my oath of office in a broader context, and to speak to this day, Katiba Day. And as I have said in my earlier statement, this is not just a ritual. This is a time for us to reflect and account for what we have done in 16 years with respect to the tenets, the principles, the mandate, and the requirement of our Constitution. And putting that in the context of my oath of office and being accountable for that oath of office, and putting it in the context of what, again, I said earlier in terms of how do we account for the authority that we exercise and whether that is making impact on the people of Kenya, especially on what you said, whether more and more citizens are closer to the rights that the Constitution envisaged. And I will say the following, that by way of accountability, when we seek a mandate like the way I did, I made commitments to the people of Kenya. And those commitments were not just statements. They were not just slogans. They were commitments that ultimately I must be held account, because that is what the Constitution demands of me as president. And I would want to put it in this context. Number one, I made commitments about how to transform the nation and what I need to do. And I made proposals to the people of Kenya that this is how I intend to stabilize the economy. This is how I intend to make sure that we have access to health getting to the majority of citizens. This is how I intend to work on making sure that there is decent housing as it's required by the Constitution. This is how education that is provided for as an obligation to government in the Constitution, this is what we are going to do. This is how we are going to work on access to water and all the other requirements of the Constitution. And I can confidently tell the nation today that subsequent to my election and my commitment that I will be faithful to the Constitution, we have done whatever we needed to do, difficult as it may have been, to stabilize our economy. Today, our economy is the 6th largest economy in Africa. Our interest rates have come down. Our exchange rates have come down and stabilized. Our inflation has come down and stabilized. And our sovereign debt position is way different from what it was. We did not only, avoid the default. We've gone ahead to create a much more stable economy.
Allow me to bring you back to my question.
Just let me, so that I don't lose my trend of thought.
Okay.
Let me say that often I have been asked, you committed yourself that you will reduce on debt and on borrowing. And I want to answer that question in this forum because prudent management of public resources is part of accountability. It's part of accounting by leaders. You know, sometimes we reduce accountability to just be about, you know, corruption and those other things, which are fundamental. But the worst form of corruption is to make a commitment that you have no intention of keeping.
True.
And so when I made a commitment that we are going to think of how to develop our country without burdening ourselves with too much borrowing or debt, and sometimes disproportionately disadvantaging generations that come after us.
Right.
I can say on this podium today, if you look at where we were in terms of debt and where we are today, we have significantly, by multiples, reduced the rate of acquisition of debt in our country. Let me give you an example. When Moi left office, we had a sovereign debt of 630 billion. That is what Kibaki inherited. In 10 years, Kibaki took that sovereign debt to 1.8 trillion. That is 3 times, by a multiple of 3, roughly. When my brother, President Uhuru, left office in 2022, he left behind a debt of 10.3 trillion. It had grown by 5 times, 500% in 10 years. In my 5 years, that debt has grown from 10.3 trillion to 13 trillion. In 5 years, that debt has not grown by multiples. It has grown by 27%. And therefore, the commitment I made that while we will continue to invest and develop our country, we will do it in such a manner that we reduce on borrowing, we reduce on debt, and we grow our economy sustainably. So I'm just giving an example of how accountable one must be.
So back to my question, sir.
I will come to your question. Just allow me to set the context.
I just want to phrase it again,
yes,
so that we don't lose track of what we are saying. And you've used the words that I do not want to repeat, but let me just use them. Worst form of commitment, of corruption, is making commitments that you do not keep.
Yes.
You made a commitment in your gender charter to have a 50% representation of each gender in your cabinet. Today, your cabinet is unconstitutionally composed of the requirement not more than 2/3 of the same gender. I just want to seek, because the issue here is constitutional accountability, Your Excellency.
Correct.
So in that regard, because this sends a strong signal to the rest of the Republic, what is your answer to that? Why is the cabinet unconstitutional? What are you going to do about it? There is a court order that has not been vacated by any other court that has given you until the 28th of October to reconstitute your cabinet.
Correct. Precisely what I'm telling you is, in the context of commitments that you make, you may not necessarily get 100%, but you can get 80%. In your estimation, have you passed that exam or did you not pass? If the commitments you made, you have achieved 80%. There are some commitments that are work in progress. But what I was trying to point to you is that of the commitments I made to the people of Kenya, commitments on the economy, commitments on education, commitments on agriculture, commitments on housing, commitments on making sure we control our debt, commitments on making sure that we have universal health coverage. I can confidently say we are at 80%. That does not mean we have discharged every commitment. There are commitments that are outstanding. Among them is that one on making sure that we respect the two-thirds gender principle.
Will you reconstitute the cabinet?
It is, that's a much more simpler thing to say.
Okay, let me just...
But let me just, we are speaking in context.
Yes.
Don't make it simplistic.
I am not, sir.
Because, there are many people who are telling me, for example, I heard from exactly what you're saying, you must get 100% for you to have passed. I don't think that is fair to say, for you to have passed, you must get 100%. I think what we are saying is, have we, in the collective assessment of the people of Kenya,
Yes.
have we kept our part of the bargain substantively? You remember I used the words progressively in my statement several times.
Yes.
Have we made progress progressively? Yes, we have done. Have we done 100%? No, we have not got 100%. Some of it, as was said here by leaders, is work in progress. And its attainment may not happen today. Just the same way, the court has ruled that Parliament is unconstitutional because of the two-thirds gender rule.
Yes.
That determination was made by court, I think, almost 5 years ago, 6 years ago, to be exact. But it's work in progress, I did make proposals myself to Parliament on how we could attain the two-thirds gender rule. It is still work in progress in Parliament. And I think progressively, without being too aggressive against ourselves, that is work in progress.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency. I want to move to my leadership, the Honorable Chief Justice.